Well, hey folks, we're going to work on the martial power system today, so give me a second to check my signal, make sure we're coming through clear. I'll go through my intro, and then we'll get to work here for a couple hours. So hold on here real quick, doing a mic check, 1, 2, 3. On here real. That sounds pretty solid to me. Cool. Hey, that rhymed and had reason, even better. Click. I'm going to go through my intro spiel here real quick. So if you are in the future after we've streamed the future and you don't care or already know what I'm all about, you can skip ahead like a minute or something. But for folks that are new to the channel or stuck here live with me and during my intro, hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing game supplements, I illustrate them, and I publish them online. And I've been focusing my attention on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition here for the past 5 years. There's a slew of links in the description down below that you can click open to see free previews of other work that I've created before that's currently published on DMsGuild.com. I would say the most relevant to today's conversation is going to be the color mana spell point variant rule system that I've developed, so you can have Magic the Gathering style 5-color mana be the power system and resources that your character uses to cast spells in 5th edition, instead of the 8 schools of magic in the spell slots or even the spell points that they suggest clumsily in the DMG. The mana system that we have in the universal spell point system is incredibly sleek and efficient, and using our magic paradigm system of devoting your mana pool to different aspects of magic allows you to do cool things like create 5 different aspects, one for each color: white, blue, black, red, green, to divide your resources among. Another fun way of doing it is the 4 elements, like the last bender, where you have air, earth, fire, water. You have those 4 elements that are aspects of magic that you can divide your mana pool between to create different effects that correlate with the ludo narrative, or the mechanical execution of a narrative element within a game or a story is what a ludo narrative is, when the mechanics complement and reinforce the narrative of the story. So if, like, for instance, if you're playing Magic the Gathering setting like Strixhaven, Ravnica, Theros, then having a magic paradigm that uses the 5 colors of magic as one would with Magic the Gathering, playing the card game from whence these settings originated from, that would be a stronger ludo narrative to match that style of game. Similarly, if you were playing a Avatar Last Airbender campaign, where all the magic and abilities that you have are based around the 4 elements, having a resource system that leans into differentiating between air, earth, fire, and water magic from each other would help increase the ludo narrative of that game experience, which are different things that you can do with these paradigms that we created inside of this magic system. So having said that, we're going to continue working on development of the book. Big shout out to the Reddit Ravnica channel for being big supporters of stuff that I do in general. For folks that are interested in following me on Twitter, you can at Phil Kearney if you're still on the X platform. Best way to support the channel overall is like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications of when we're going to be live in the future. I stream 6 days a week, different projects and artwork, and then I record something to post on Sunday. So I'm here basically 7 days a week currently for the foreseeable future. So if you like some of the stuff that I do, definitely jump on board with us. Also worth noting, we have our Patreon, where you get early looks at stuff that we do. Here's a link to my Twitter, and we've just launched a Discord community so that we'll have a hub for us to have conversations about the Spelljammer mechanics that I've been illustrating in the mornings, the Eberron campaign adventure that I've been creating on Mondays and Thursday nights, and to playtest the Martial Powers magic paradigm that we are currently working on here today. So you can check that stuff out if you want. Also worth noting, if you dive into my Patreon, you don't have to be a member of my Patreon to gain access to this stuff, but it's certainly appreciated, and it helps encourage moving forward with projects like this in the future. Let's go down to the article about playtest content for martial powers. If you click on the YouTube screen, you'll be here with me. Hi, here with me. But more importantly, you're going to want to click the martial powers button. That'll open a read-only document in Google. This is still the alpha test version that we can use for playtesting. It provides all of the mechanics needed to play characters from level 1 to 20. All the subclasses for barbarians, fighters, monks, paladins, rangers, and rogues. Using 5e content, we've translated all of the current 5e 2014 plus additional content that was created, like Xanathar's, Tasha's, all the subclasses therein. They're all published. We have them built out here to use the martial powers paradigm. Our objective today is, I'm going to go ahead and drop this off the page because our working document that I will be inside of right now and editing is the same document that you can read along with right now, or in the future if you catch me after live stream. Hi, future. So here we are inside the playtest document. I've got a number of tabs open because we're going to take this 91-page document. We're going to kick all the way down, past all the magic item creation rules, past the paradigms of framing magic, past the creature templates for using power on creatures to fight against your team, into the playtest design. I think we've gone too far. Land type usage. We'll get back to this random generator in the upcoming days ahead. Probably on Friday, I think, is when we're going to revisit that again. But I actually want to be up here a bit because I am looking for... Oh, here we are. I think it's at the front end of this. Chain strikes, no. Damage types, no. Bop, bop, bop. Yeah, here we go. Ravnica Guild, Azorius Guild. Bonus powers, I need to bold that. And I know NAC will be infinitely frustrated with me because I don't use proper bookmarking notation for people to track down stuff easily. But we are currently inside of the Azorius Guild. The Guilds of Ravnica. So if you go... if you are a D&D Magic the Gathering enthusiast, you probably have the Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica, in which it presents the world of Ravnica and the 10 guilds that rule it as different background templates that you can apply. If you are part of the Azorius Synod, you'll take the Azorius Synod background and get a number of perks, including free spells along with it. So being that the martial powers magic paradigm doesn't actually use spellcasting, it uses an alternate magic system and channels the magic instead of casting the spells, but uses the same 5-color magic paradigm that we have for spellcasting throughout the 5-color mana spell point variant rules that are on DMsGuild that you can link down below. We need to have a translation from one mechanic into another. So we are currently taking, like for example here, what did we do? We did House Demir last time. So here's the background for House Demir. And you scroll through it. Demir characters gain a stack of free spells in addition to other perks that they gain. So here's the spells that you get, none of which are relevant to martial power characters that are using channeling magic instead of spellcasting. So we want to offer different powers that will be able to correspond with the levels of gaining spells. Since you're not gaining any spells, you should have something in exchange, which would be a stack of powers. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at what spells you would gain at different levels. Say here in House Demir, came down here to Demir, and we kept the cantrips because they don't cost any mana to actually cast cantrips. You just have to have a color identity that matches the cantrip in question. So obviously a Demir character would have blue and black mana using MTG language. And so they'll automatically have access to the cantrips that you would have in Code Thought and Mage Hand. But then all the spells that you get, first level, second level, third level, fourth level, fifth level spells become irrelevant because you don't cast spells, you channel magic. So we'll want to come up with alternate powers for you to use. So let's scroll down to our big list of powers, which is currently boasting 209. 151 of them require mana, and 58 some odd of them don't require mana at all. So give me a second here. Let me make sure I got all my stuff lined up here, and I'm getting a ping. Let me see what's going on here real quick. Okay, great. So, like, if we're looking at House Dimir, here we go. We had Disguise Self and Sleep, something that hides your appearance and incapacitates foes. So our solution for Dimir was Subtle Channeling, which conceals your the appearance of you using magic at all. And then the Beguiling Trance, which lulls somebody into a sleep as long as you leave them undisturbed. It's comparable in effect, so that's why we granted it, as well as power scaling. So as we go into the next, let's get past all the Dimir business. Oops, and let's go from Dimir into Golgari. So we'll go to the Golgari Swarm. We're going to pick up this stack here and drop it here, and hell, let's drop it again. This will be blank guild. And we remove the cantrips. We remove the powers chosen. Remove here. So of the 200, we have all 209 powers available for us to choose from. And all I really got to do is find 10 of them that are going to match the character, the flavor of what Golgari got going on. So that's going to be our project today. We're going to start kicking through each of the guilds. We still have 7 left. Don't know how long it's going to take for us to finish it, but this is the task at hand. The playtest that we're developing, so the martial power system, all the mechanics are there. People can build characters, multi-class freely. Everything is there that's needed, including building magic items or even using the system to build monsters, already ready to go for you if you want to use it. All I gotta do is click into the read-only document. But I want to play test it just to make sure that I'm happy with how it feels in the first and second tier of play. I've been running it at my home table from level 12 to 20, and among a rogue, a ranger. We had a paladin, but he had to drop out. And so we let our druid, while wild shaped, use powers as well. So I've got a lot of feedback and practical design and confidence from running the game for the past 9 months, using it at the high-end tier. But I want to make sure that it feels fun, balanced, and provides a lot of action economy and give reason for players to really be interested in using this system during the first and second tier without imbalancing the game. That's the real trick, is making sure that it's not breaking the game, right? So at high end, it's easier to make things curve out. If you're used to running high-end games, it's easier to curve it out because there's so much that high-end level characters can do. It's pretty easy to fold mechanics and damage and action economy into comparing what other characters can already do at a comparable level. It's when you start back down the ladder from 20 back all the way down to first level, it can often be that, like, for example, if you build something at the low end and it's really cool, if you scale up to 20th level, it could become broken. If you build something that's super cool at 20th level and downscale it, you may have a hiccup in being able to scale it down below, say, 9th level without it deconstructing into pieces, or only being fragmental or being overpowered if you offer it earlier than that 9th level, at which point your characters, nobody's probably ever going to freaking play it because most campaigns end by the time you hit double digits. So, balancing act requires attention and time. So, I'm building a playtest environment, and you've seen some streams for that. If you hang out on my channel a lot, you've seen the initial pieces of the random system generator for creating land environments by color coding elevation inside of a city ruin environment. And we're just about at the place where we're going to start building hazards, puzzles, traps, and monster encounters defined by each region or type of land that they're found in during the random point crawl that we're going to have. So since it's in Ravnica, we need to take the effort to convert all of the backgrounds away from spellcasting into the power system. So without any further ado, let's dive into that shit. So Golgari, we're going to keep the 2 cantrips because you can. because cantrips don't actually require spellcasting to perform. So we're just going to pick those up. See if this looks weird when I paste them in. Yep, it sure does. So let's just go over here instead and do that, and then select all, cantrip, and then bear. There we go. Dancing lights, spare the dying. Those are the 2 cantrips that you get. Now we are going to go look at each of, let's see, this is our layer that we have for Golgari. And then we have our batch, which we're now looking at disciplines here. So I think what I want to do is to minimize screen flipping. I think I want to have the actual stuff that we're going to write in the same tab as we're comparing against Golgari with different disciplines that already exist. So there's 5 types of disciplines: exploits, maneuvers, reactions, strikes, and sustained powers. Exploits modify actions and die rolls, the action economy that you have. If I use a bonus action, I get a kicker effect. Sort of stuff like that. If I move, I can spend mana and get these additional benefits while moving, for instance. Maneuvers are action or bonus actions to trigger. They're the closest thing to what you would consider a spell. I spend mana, I point my finger, a thing happens at wherever I'm pointing, sort of stuff. Reactions are self-explanatory. They are triggered by different circumstances that then allow me to use my reaction as my action economy during off my turn, and I spend mana to do so. Strikes are channeled. They're similar to Divine Smite and Smite spells. They replace the Smite system and Divine the Divine Smite class feature from Paladin, and spread it out to a more universal system that Paladins gain additional perks off of to make them unique from other character classes. And then sustained powers are concentration, maintained effects, for instance, but have a different spin to them to be more of an instant impact sort of effect. So different caveats that we're currently on our 104th episode. So you can go check the history of our playtest to see where we're playing with different sustained powers, to see where all that stuff led to. But these 5 disciplines require, by default, require mana to use. So you spend a point of mana, you can trigger at the first rank of power. There's plenty of options that exist inside the game by different powers you can learn, or subclass features or class features you can gain depending on how you build your character that allow you to cheat the mana system to either get mana back faster than a short or long rest, as well as things that allow you to, in certain circumstances, reduce the cost of a discipline down to 0 mana so you can spam it at the cost of action economy. So there's a lot of fun ways to be able to spin it that makes it very versatile for low-level characters to use. And for higher level characters that have a larger mana pool available for them, they can then use and spike these effects. So you can ignore your mana pool completely if you want to, not worry about maintaining that resource and the mana game of balancing what type of mana that you're using to trigger different effects. You don't have to mess with that stuff if you want to, because a good 50 some odd powers that we have in this book don't require mana at all, in the form of you can purchase learning combat masteries, which are like weapon masteries that become basically weapon cantrips that don't rely on what weapon you're using, but rather the technique that you use with the weapons that you're wielding, including unarmed or natural attacks. So each of these are basically treated as a make a save, do a thing, similar to weapon masteries that we've seen in the playtesting that UA has, that Wizards is releasing for 2024. We also offer feats as powers. So if you don't want to learn specific powers, like if you go down here, you can see that your character starts with 2 powers at first level and eventually evolves into 16. And each subclass gains 10 powers. And the backgrounds for Ravnica also gain 10 powers. So you're getting 20 powers over the course of 20 levels, plus the 16 that you choose from, which is pretty comparable. Well, it'd be 26 powers if you don't use Ravnica. It's 36 powers if you do use Ravnica. Similar to how a wizard has 32 spells that they have prepared, and that becomes 42 if they're playing Ravnica. So there's a lot of diversity there. But so yeah, you can, if you wanted to ignore mana altogether, you could instead just choose a stack of feats to learn, and these are all a lot of the big hitters, and plus some of the more niche things that you may not choose to ever want to spend an ASI to learn instead of gaining stats. But this system allows you to stack on basically as many feats as you could possibly want to tolerate and leave your ASI alone. So as you gain levels, you can keep increasing your ability scores and still have all the feats that you want to make your character do what you want it to do, and probably have a pocket of powers left over for you to play with mana if you chose to. In addition, there's also damage types, so you can learn to deal a type of magical damage when you make weapon attacks. So at first level, you have basic damage types, which are things that creatures generally have immunity or resistance to. And then by the time you get to 5th level and above, you can basically learn any type of damage that you want. But this is eating, instead of like having a cantrip or a feat or knowing another power, you basically have the option to attack using this damage. So there becomes a much higher priority, and it becomes more fair for DMs to create creatures that have exotic immunities and resistances to different types of damage, because your team can spec into any kind of damage that they want pretty much at any time once they get to 5th level or above. They can choose to do force damage whenever they want, so it's reasonable that a DM would create creatures that can resist force damage if that's the type of creature that you want to have in the game. Especially if you know your team does a lot of force damage all the time, the DM can actively conspire against them, forcing them, pardon the pun, away from their preferred default damage type and challenging them to take a short rest to respec their character into a different damage type so that they can meet the challenge that they have at hand. That's a very Path of Exile, Diablo series sort of approach, where you want to optimize and spec your character to meet the challenges that you know, which means it's worth your time to research what your opponents are, and the DM can lean into that variable that you can always just back away from a fight, learn the type of damage that you want, and go back into the fight properly prepared to actually handle the challenge that you're facing. Or scout ahead, recognize what's there, and instead of having to back out, just go in prepared and get it one and done. Tactical style. So, different ways to play it. So, knowing that we have the full 209 powers available, including bonus feats, damage types, and weapon combat masteries that can be offered, in addition to all of the different 150 some odd powers that do require mana, we can choose powers of any level depending on what we want. So there's Entangle and Ray of Sickness. Those are our two initial kicks to play with. So Entangle, pretty much off the cuff, that's going to be easy. That's going to be a Restraining Strike. Your damage increases by 1 power die per mana burned. The creature is restrained. It doesn't do any different type of damage other than what your weapon normally does. It just increases the amount of damage that you deal by 1 power die. And depending on what your level is, depends on the level, the size of the power die that you're using. Starts off as a D6, becomes a D8, ends as a D10. Some other subclass options have different options, such as the monk. If you're using the martial power system, the monk uses the martial arts die instead of the power die when preferential. So if we're sticking with the D12 progression that we're anticipating, or if you're using my elemental key mechanics, D12 is where we're going to end up with a monk at 17th level. So when you're playing a monk, instead of rolling, like, say, up to 5 mana at 17th level, you could throw at 1 power. Instead of rolling 5d10 on your Restraining Strike, a monk would have 5d12. If you're willing to spend 5 mana on a pop to hit with a Restraining Strike. So your damage increases by 1 power die per mana burned. The creature is restrained until it succeeds a saving throw at the end of each of its turn. So here you're already making attack rolls to be able to trigger these things in the first place. The way that the system is set up is that you're only making 1 roll. You're either, the initiator is either making an attack roll to land an effect, and if the effect lands, it automatically takes hold the first round, And then at the end of each of their rounds, they have the opportunity to make a saving throw to end the effect. That then opens them to being able to use reactions to potentially counter or overcome upcoming power effects that the character may pour onto them again after their turn has ended. But just like let's say like hold person or whatever, they're having to make a saving throw each turn. The only difference here is that the first round sticks, and then at the end of that first round, they can try to save their way out of it, as opposed to make a saving throw up front, and if it fails, it's over, but then it loops around, so it's the beginning of their round. Every time it's the beginning of the round, it could then end. So the initiation effect and the order of taking saving throws changes using the power system compared to where spells are at. Spells require a saving throw up front, and you save at the beginning of your turn. Powers automatically stick and require a saving throw at the end of your turn. Yes, you're going to be making two separate saves, one at the beginning of your turn and one at the end of your turn, depending on the power that's there, but the DM can decide, do they want to lean into spells against characters and having saves at the front end of their turn, or as a DM, do you want to have them at the back end of the turn, where the players are going to be affected by the action economy, and then they can try to get their way out of it at the end of the turn. So there are those two differences, and it does play with their economy. So also worth noting, having said that, let's go up here to, let's see, Gifted, Ground, Inquisitor, Master, Overrun, Natural, Practice, Sage, Swift, Subtle, Tactical, Unnerving. Looking for cover, cooperative effort. What am I looking for? Resilience. When making a saving throw, you can roll one power die per mana channeled, adding the highest roll to your result. This resilience is a first rank power, and exploits modify die rolls. They don't use their own action economy. So, in a circumstance where your character is paralyzed, or say put to sleep, and your character is a creature or a character is going to make a saving throw at the end of their turn, even though your character is incapacitated and unaware, since the character is being required to initiate a die roll as part of the game mechanics, if you have this particular mechanic, the resilient feature, then even though you're unconscious, like say if you've been put to sleep and then you get to make a saving throw to wake up, you could use your resilient exploit while you're asleep. It's not a reaction. There are other reactions that you can use to modify die rolls for sure, but this exploit specifically allows you to add mana to your die roll to overcome effects, even though your character may not be aware. And that is a meta mechanic that they would be making a saving throw at the end of their turn. As a player, you can expend your resources to attempt to snap out of an effect, even though your character would maybe not have access to a reaction or even awareness that something is going on. That's a fun little mechanic that, honestly, one of the things that we have to playtest in the game is, should that just be a default thing that all characters have access to, or is that something that characters should specifically have to kit into to make a purchase because it is something that they want to be able to do? Tank their way out of saving throws more on their own because that's what they want their character to be able to do? Or are we experiencing it often enough that people are constantly going to want to burn mana, so we should just make it a part of the channeling system, that if you have this mana resource, you could automatically blow a spell point to do it? I would say no, because the sorcerer has similar mechanics that allow them to juice up their die rolls. So I'm thinking it's going to remain a discipline option that can be opted into, but if it becomes something that everyone always takes because it's such a standout solution for people to buy into after they've played the system for a little while, then we will consider just making it a core feature of the game that you have access to this resource. So we'll see. I don't think the playtest is going to bend us in that direction, but like there was a conversation earlier today on Indestructible Boys Designosphere Discord channel about about whether power attack and like sharpshooter should default be included with martial characters when every character on your team is taking those feats to get that statistical advantage. Should they get it for free, or should they continue to be feat taxed? And in my opinion, it's a matter of how does the system, how is the game actually being ran? If the DM is automatically incorporating those abilities, like assuming that -5 plus 10 -5 to attack plus 10 damage, and armor class is being lowered effectively, but their hit points are being juiced up in compensation for it, then arguably you'll just give it to them for free because the game is already calibrating on the assumption that that's what they're going to do. I have to rearrange my seating here. There we go. But only your game table is going to reveal how that plays. So when you're designing alternate systems like this and you're putting out there for publication, that's why you want to do testing like this, to be able to affirm, is this feature something that you need to have in the game for characters to be able to execute the fantasy of playing the characters that they want, or is it something that should be an opt-in feature, and how would you make that opt-in? And obviously here we have a spellcasting system basically that lets you opt into different feats and powers whenever you prepare your kit of power for the day. So anyway, having said all that, restraining strike was where we were at, and I think that's just a natural pick. But I think we have restraining strike someplace else already too, don't we? I think it's under Resort. Yeah, ironically, Azorius also has restraining strike because they had a similar feature. But we'll give it to them anyway. STR1. And what was the other thing that they got? Yeah, this arrangement's going pretty good. Ray of Sickness. Remind me? Ray of Sickness, greenish energy, lashes out, takes poison damage, and is poisoned if they fail. Well, then. I think we should consider giving them Poison Strike. Shan't we? Let's see where that's at. Is that second? Oh, your weapon can deal acid or poison damage and add 1 power die per mana burned. In addition, the creature is poisoned. The creature can attempt to end this effect at the end of each of its turns by succeeding a Constitution saving throw. So it's 2 mana. You'd add 2 power dice at 5th level when you have access to this. It'd be an extra 2d6 damage. By the time you get to 9th level, it'd be an extra 2d8, but you could put up the 3 mana into it, so it could be a 3d8 if you wanted. How does that compare to what we're looking at here? Ray of Sickness. A ray of sickening greenish energy lashes out towards a creature within range. It's a first level, so I'll make a ranged spell attack against the target. If it hits, the target takes 2d8 poison damage. Must make a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, it is on a failed save. It is also poisoned. Doesn't reduce damage, but it is poisoned. And you can ramp the effect with a higher spell slot, adding a 2d8. So you would make an attack roll, make it a ranged spell attack against the target. If it hits, this would be doing 2d8. As a first level spell, a first level poison effect that we would have would be doing an extra d6 plus your weapon damage, plus potentially like sharpshooter, adding an extra plus 10. So like be d8 plus 10 plus d8. So the damage is comparable. The poison condition isn't there though. So we wouldn't have access to Poisoning Strike until 2nd level, until 2nd tier, but honestly it's appropriate. So we're gonna plug it into play for them here. Poisoning Strike, STR2. Is there an effect we can give Let's. I'm hunting. I'm hunting for another first rank ability. Ooh, the poisoner feat might not be bad, as is a free gimme. But let's see if there's any cool maneuvers that might fit the bill. Honestly, kind of tempted to give him Swift Resuscitation, which can stabilize a dying creature you touch and restore a number of hit points equal to your max rank of power. It's not bad. It's certainly the green side of Golgari. But is there any field medic when making an ability check that uses the medicine, a survival skill, or healer kit? Roll 1 power die. Field medic's not bad either, honestly. For Golgari specifically. It's okay. Cynic for sure. Let's see. Is there anything in here I like? Natural Hunter. No. Veterinary training. Veterinary training might be good. For Golgari, that's not a horrible idea. No, I think the maneuver. I think that's the one that we want. Yeah, Swift Resuscitation. I think that feels good. Wait, hold on. Let's check Spare the Dying real quick to make sure we're not completely redundant here. You touch a living creature that has 0 hit points. That creature becomes stable. The spell has no effect on undead or constructs. That's kind of a double burger, nothing. Yeah, Swift Resuscitation makes Spare the Dying redundant. So, let's go journey down into the freebies to see if there's anything that feels Golgari down here, like, say, in the feats. I mean, there is Poisoner, so let's go give that a gander, shan't we? Poisoner. It's the Poisoner feat. Da-ba-dum-ba-dum-bum. Feat. When you make a damage roll that deals poison damage, it ignores resistance to damage, poison damage. You can apply poison to a weapon or piece of ammunition as a bonus action instead of an action. You gain proficiency with a Poisoner kit if you don't already have it. Poisoner is actually really fucking great. So let's just lock that in. Poisoner feat. And then you get Poisoning Strike the next level. That can, let's look at that real quick. Hold on. You can apply poison when you make damage rolls that deals poison damage that ignores resistance to poison damage. That's awesome because you're picking up poison damage at 5th level. And then you can apply poison to a weapon or piece of ammunition. You get proficiency, blah, 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 blah. That's actually, just that first feature alone is pretty damn useful. I am content with this decision. Carry on. Carry on. Poisoner Strike, protection from poison, Ray of Enfeeblement. Why do you get 3? Ray of Enfeeblement and Spider Climb. Well, Spider Climb is useful, so let's go take a look at, there's some wall climbing stuff, I think. We can pick, we're not restrained by level per level in Cliff Runner. You gain climb speed equal to your walking speed, and you can climb this way without using your hands. Wait. What is it? Unusual in metabolism, or I think we have a metabolism thing somewhere up in here. Unnatural resistance. There we go. When you channel this power, choose one type of damage: force, necrotic, psychic, or radiant. You gain resistance to that damage type and gain advantage on saving throws. Oh wait, it is damage resistance. Where is it? Elemental resistance. There we go. When you channel this power, choose one type of damage. Acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder. Wait. Acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Unnatural resistance, therefore should have poison. Let me go find that again. Necrotic. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. M-N-O. Poison. There we go. Force, necrotic, poison, psychic, or radiance. You gain resistance to the chosen type of damage and gain advantage on saving throws to reduce the damage taken of the chosen damage type. You can channel this power more than once simultaneously, choosing a different type of damage with each channeling. Now, let's couple that with Poisoner. When you make a poison damage roll that deals poison damage, it ignores resistance to poison damage. You gain resistance. Poisoner ignores resistance. So Poisoner will trump this effect, but it's still a good thing to have. Oh, wait, strange metabolism. While sustaining this power, you're immune to poison damage and the poison condition. In addition, immune is different from resistant. Strange metabolism is really good. We'll go with strange metabolism. Holy crap, that's great. Or let's just go with unnatural resistance. I think I'm going to save strange metabolism for Simic. That is a sustained power, correct? Yeah. Cool. What about rank number 3? Animate dead plant growth. Okay. I think Curse of the Fallen Puppet works really well here. There you go. Is that a reaction or is that a strike? Oh, that's a reaction. How fucking kink is that? Reaction 2. And plant growth, huh? I don't think we have anything for plants specifically in here. However, we could potentially grant a plant thing. Natural hunter, yeah. Investigation, nature, and survival checks. So natural hunter. So let's slide MNOP. Let's slide Natural Hunter forward to second rank. And let's take Unnatural Resistance and push it back. This is implying that this is the rank that you gain the power. That's not actually accurate. This is implying when you gain access to channeling that rank. I mean, you could have any level. How do they express it in the actual content? That's going to be, yeah, see, they express it as a spell level, and that doesn't quite jive with what we're actually doing here. So I'm going to have to figure out some sort of language to help clarify exactly what it is that we're accomplishing here. All right. So having done that, yeah, we got to figure out the language on this because we're in this weird murky space where we're not picking specific powers of a corresponding rank. We're just filling in what makes sense for what the guild is attempting to express, like what it does. So we're trying to find powers, feats, options that help simulate what that does is. So we're expressing the same kind of ideas with a different system, if that makes sense. Yeah, so let's just keep on keeping on. Giant insect, grasping vine. I mean, giant insect making things big. It kind of feels like giant growth power to me, which I think is pretty cool. Keeping in mind, you can gain most of these things on your own by yourself, but by the time they get added to your kit, you don't have to pay for them anymore. Like they're given to you for free once they're added onto your kit. So yeah, we'll just give them giant growth. That's such a goodie. Giant growth is such a goodie. So that's 2. Like your 13th, like you'd be at least 13th level by the time you gain 4th rank powers, and you're only picking up giant growth as a 2nd rank sustained power. Like there's you can do a lot with low level stuff. is what I'm attempting to gawk at here. Giant growth and grasping vines. Grasping vines, huh? Ooh, Curse of Enfeeblement. You curse a creature you can see to deal half damage. Curse of Enfeeblement actually kind of goes with Rave Enfeeblement. That was off earlier. Let's go with that. Curse of Enfeeblement, which is maneuver 3. You curse a creature you can see to deal half damage with attacks until the target succeeds a strength saving throw at the end of each of its turns. Expensive, but it's a hard nerf. It's not as hard a nerf against creatures that are going to hit hard because they're going to be able to succeed a saving throw easier. I'm okay with it though. Where are we at? Cloud Kill, Insect Plague, huh? Could go with Wave of Terror. Theurgy, target creature you see within 30 feet makes charisma saving throw fail equals no move or bonus action until success. That actually feels pretty good for Golgari. It's actually pretty good. Fail does not move or bonus action until succeed at the end. That's only a second. Oh, wait, 3. There. Curse of Enfeeblement. What's some other cool shit we can do for high level stuff? We got Cloud Kill Insect Plague, huh? Cloud Kill Insect Plague. I doubt I'm going to have anything comparable. I don't think we have anything that really compares to what those things are. But while this power sustains, you are not restrained, stunned, paralyzed, incapacitated. Any creature you see that begins its turn or move within reach of your melee attack gains 1 power die of damage per mana sustained. Deadly Presence is actually really good. I'm just going to go ahead and go with that. Deadly Presence. Because you can juice that up to 5 mana if you want and do 5d10 damage to any creatures that are within range of your weapon attack that you can see at the beginning of its turn or whenever it moves within an area. That is, I mean, it's just Guardian Spirits, right? But still, it's nasty. I like it. That feels good. So let's replicate this. That was Golgari. Looks like we'll do Gruul next. So let's see how that goes. Am I right? Gruul. The Gruul clans. It's the Gruul clans. Tell me of your cantrips, Gruul. Wop wop wop. Firebolt, produce flame, those are great. Compel duel, speak with animal, Thunderwave. Cool. Okay, so that's a lot of aggression. Let's just lean into it. Compel Duel is Goading Strike. Deal extra damage. Creature that I hit has disadvantage on attacks that doesn't target me. The effect ends if they hit you or if they succeed a saving throw. There you go. So, Goading Strike. It's a goodie. The other one? Thunderwave. Thunderwave is a push effect. So let's go look at our pushes. Under maneuvers. Oh, we could go with, we can go down with a combat mastery. Push, target makes a strength saver, is push 5 feet. Grapple, disarm, push, trip, target makes dex saver, is prone. I think flatten is more fun. Choose a creature within 30 feet. It takes 1 power die per mana force damage, and if it fails a saving throw, it is knocked prone. Let's see how that compares to Ye Old Thunderwave. 15-foot cube, makes a con save, failure, gets pushed, and takes damage. So flatten, more fun. Let's go with flatten. What's next? Beast Sense and Shatter. Okay. Okay, let's go with veterinary. Veterinary training. Power die equals animal handling, medicine, survival skills. Those feel right. Mixing that stuff up. Beast sense and shatter, so I want a force effect. Oh, maybe just a strike effect. Oh, let's just go with thunder damage. That's fun. Your weapon can deal thunder damage and add 1 power die per mana burned. A creature up to one size larger than you is pushed back directly away from you up to 10 feet away for each point that you spend thundering damage. Thundering strike. That is STR1. Enjoy. Conjure animal, conjure barrage. Let's see. Bursting Strike's not bad. And it's an exploit, so that's nice to be able to tip up the damage. You know what? Bursting Strike should probably actually be bursting damage. Channel a strike power as an attack. All creatures within 10 feet of the creature hit other than you also takes damage equal to the result of the power dice damage rolled. God, I feel like that should be... Supposed to strike. All creatures within 10 feet of the creature hit other than you also take damage equal to the result of the power dice damage roll. Delusional strike glasses with an action economy. Yeah, I'm good with that. All right, let's change. Explosive strike. I'm going to click here and go to Bursting. Copy that real quick and drop down to here. Cool, and the other one is we're just working on Realizing strike, tripping strike, delusional. Ah, there we go. So now strike 2. STR2. Just making sure this all clicks together. Cool. All right, that's all fixed. Barvo. So we have explosive strike, and now we want to again look at what else did you get? That takes care of conjure barrage, conjure animals, huh? Probably not so much, but I think we might have a sustained effect that can work in here. Poison, sturdy, tremor-sense, sturdy. Sturdy's a pretty good one. Let's just go with that. Sturdy. Saturday. That's +2. Yeah. Let's see. Dominate beast, stone skin. Dominate beast and stone skin. Dominate beast, stone skin. Weapon resistance is pretty good. You gain resistance to non-magical and weapon resistance. No, yeah, so that's 2. And then dominate animal, huh? That feels more like daunting presence. While sustaining this power, attack rolls against you are made with disadvantage, and when you are the only target of an effect that requires you to make a saving throw, you roll with advantage while sustaining this power. Yeah, daunting presence is really fucking good. So it's high and gruel shit. Destructive wave. Alright, let's see what we can find. Indestructible. Resistance to all damage, and you can pop 2 mana as a reaction to become immune to a damage type. And let's see, daunting presence. It's reactions, maybe a punish. As a reaction to when a creature, you can... Nah, as reactions. Wave of Terror. That's a fun one. Wave of Terror, as you can choose a number of creatures within 30 feet of you to make a 7 throw. If they fail, they're frightened. Curse of Enfeeblement, Lift, Shunt. Creatures that are up to 1 size larger than you within 10 feet of you make a saving throw or are pushed 10 feet per mana burned. Shunt is actually really fucking good. So let's go with Shunt. It's 2 mana. How are we doing here? Gruel. Let's go with. Ultimately, we'll do the same thing for the Strixhaven colleges. And we'll take a look at Theros to see what their gods are like. I think they get some bonus spells, but I want to double check to see if that's valid. My body is telling me that I'm going to have some issues arising here. You know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and just call it today. We're just going to go ahead and call this there. I'm going to reclaim some. I reclaim my time. And I am going to bounce for now, but I will be back in the morning to do more Spelljammer stuff. I'm going to go off stream for the rest of the day and just do some work offline. So I am going to, I'll be back tomorrow. I'll do more of this tomorrow at lunch as well as on Friday. We've got, what, 4 of them done? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow. Got 5 done. Okay, cool. So when we come back, we'll do probably 2 tomorrow, and maybe we'll do 2 or 3 on Friday, depending on how our energy feels. And then we can do the Strixhaven schools after that. So anyway, I'll see you guys on the other side. Thanks a lot for checking this stuff out. If you're interested in seeing more, I stream daily, so you can just check out in the description down below. Catch my Discord, Twitter, Patreon to get access to this, and be welcome to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. I'll be back in the morning. See you guys then.